We've discussed it before, but today I would like to take an in-depth look at a Sith weapon that many ancient Sith claimed was far more powerful than a lightsaber. You heard correctly, many of these Sith Lords didn't just claim that it was more powerful, but far superior than the Jedi lightsaber. A weapon that only a true Dark Lord of the Sith could wield successfully, as nearly any being in the galaxy could pick up and use a lightsaber. This weapon though, specifically designed using the dark side of the Force, not just anyone could wield. Only a true Sith, and a Sith of notable strength, both physical and Force-based. The weapon we'll be discussing today was the ancient Sith WARBLADE. The construction of a Sith WARBLADE was an intense process. The metal alone was created and forged using the dark side of the Force. Quote, Sith swords were constructed through various metallurgical and arcane means, transmuting base metals into an alchemical alloy, possessing an unusual affinity with the dark side of the Force. Again guys, the very metals of these swords were ingrained within the dark side, but still the construction of a warblade was not finished until the ritual of the Dark Lords was, a ritual that involved much bloodshed by the sword specifically. Quote, a Sith sword is enhanced by submerging it in a trough of blood spilled in anger. Grinding the edge of Svolten Rhyolite will ensure it never dulls. The final step in creating a Sith sword was to use Sith alchemy, creating the perfect mixture of physical metal and the dark side of the Force. Alchemy was when a Sith Lord used the dark side to affect the physical level, changing something permanently and twisting it evil and unpure. A Sith sword was extremely difficult to wield in combat because they were unnaturally heavy. Beyond this, if the owner and constructor of the Sith Warblade were to wield it, the very sword would fight against them, as their allegiance lied with one individual that constructed it out of hatred. By using alchemy, the Sith Warblade actually gained somewhat of a consciousness and became somewhat sentient, given life through the dark side and through Sith alchemy. Something that I would like to point out is only achieved with the most powerful Force wielders that own lightsabers. To find this is the case with a lightsaber is extremely rare. However, it's the case with every single Sith Warblade that's constructed properly. Now, let's discuss the various powers that one receives when using a Sith Warblade, and by the end of this video, I hope to make you believe that unquestionably it's more powerful than a lightsaber. Quote, a user skilled in the dark side altered the weapon's molecular structure, making it stronger and sharper. They reversed the magnetic polarity, changing it into a high-temperature superconductor. A superconductor that could deflect blaster bolts and other particle weapons, as if magnetically sealed. The rare ores used in its constructions resisted lightsaber in much as the same manner as cortosis or frick weaves. As a little update, those that use cortosis or frick weaves could actually shut down a lightsaber if the lightsaber struck it, making these two of the most famous and deadly weapons to use against lightsaber wielders, with a Sith sword having the same effect with none of the drawbacks. And unlike cortosis, one could actually use the Force through the Sith blade, and not just have it be a normal melee weapon. While the Sith Warblade polished surface reflected laser beams and other coherent light weapons like a mirror, but perhaps most significantly, the weapon served as a focus for dark side energies for its wielder. The Warblade amplifying their power and refining their control until they became a walking nexus of dark side power. Many Sith stated that they preferred the use of the blade because they enjoyed the feeling of cutting through one of their enemy's flesh, and still believed it was more powerful and proficient than a lightsaber. Another interesting fact about the Warblades is they used the same lightsaber forms as, again, lightsabers. Someone could use the forms of lightsaber combat while also using a Sith Warblade, as the two weapons are extremely similar. Two weapons that are rare because they are entirely Force-oriented and Force-based. If you think about it, the two weapons are nearly like a brother and a sister, different in many ways, but also similar as well. As far as the list of Sith Lords that said that the Sith Warblade was more powerful as lightsabers, we actually have one, many of which being ancient Sith Lords, as the process of creating a Sith Warblade was lost to the more modern Sith. These Sith Lords included Ajunta Pall, Marka Ragnos, Naga Sadow, and Ludo Kresh. 5 Sith Lords that I would like to point out are among the most powerful ancient Sith in history, and Sith period. The Sith also adopted out the Sith Warblade because they were an instant giveaway that the wielder of this weapon was in fact a Sith Lord, and they were far more difficult to conceal, although Sith like Marka Ragnos did contain their Sith Warblades within items such as scepters. Still though, the blade was massive and extremely difficult, if not impossible, to conceal. Perhaps though what made the Sith Warblade very dangerous is it actually conducted the Force just like their wielder did. It almost became a part of their wielder once they constructed it. The Warblade is a physical item made by the Force. Just like a lightsaber as well, a Sith Warblade actually glowed in the dark. However, instead of glowing from the laser, it glowed due to its powerful connection to the dark side and dark side energies that it emitted. A Sith Warblade is also unique because it's believed that it's one of the few Sith items that Emperor Palpatine does not possess. Although it's never stated that he ever desires one, it would be my guess that it would be the prize of his Sith collection. One of the last Sith Lords to ever possess a Sith Warblade was Darth Malak. Malak never constructed the blade though, he simply took it from the Sith homeworld of Korriban as a prize. Again though, it would have been unlikely for him to be able to wield it, as it was still, of course, loyal to its owner and creator. But this was my video updating a lot of the information that we have on the Sith Warblades or the Sith swords, and how many ancient Sith believed that it was more powerful than a lightsaber, and even outright refused to use lightsabers because the Sith Warblade was at hand. So now I pose the question to you, were these ancient Sith Lords correct? Were they correct in their assumption that the Warblade was simply just more powerful than a lightsaber? Or were some of its drawbacks too much for the more modern era Sith Lords? Leave your own thoughts in the comments down below, and finally end this debate, Sith Warblade or lightsaber? As always my friends, thank you so much for watching. I cannot wait to read your comments. May the Force be with you, and have a great day. Before you go, be sure to check out my other channel, The Marvelous Wave, where we talk all about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, including news, breakdowns, and theories about all upcoming and past Marvel movies. Link to the channel is in the description below. Thank you guys as always so much for watching. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.